So mental health first aid just basically gives us the tools to guide someone to where they need to go to. So they hope that it gives us the signs to see what we need to see, and be able to encourage people to come and seek help. Mental health happens in all ages, both sexes. Doesn't matter where you are or what you're from, rich or poor. Mental health doesn't discriminate.
Hey guys, thanks again for tuning back in. And look, I'm always looking for interesting people to join me and share their stories on my podcast. And sometimes it's full of laughter and fun, but also sometimes we do touch on some sensitive topics. Just a heads up, if you or someone you know of is in need of support, then please call Lifeline on 13 11 14. That number again is 13 11 14. Hey guys, thanks again for tuning back in, and please hit that subscribe button, like and share, as it helps this channel to continue to grow, and I can continue to seek out these unsung heroes that are making a huge impact in the community, or even those where their stories relate to someone who is going through some challenging times in their lives. And without further ado, let's get back to it. Hey guys, welcome again to another brand new episode of The Round Table. And today I'm here just off Mount Perry in this beautiful location, which happens to be owned by my special guest joining me today, Kehran Collingwood. And the reason why I pulled her up into joining me on the podcast was to actually just get pick her brain about mental health, because not only was that something that I've always been curious about learning more about, but it was because of also what she's gone through to understand it. And so before we kind of kick off and dive into it all, as always, the round table symbolizes a safe space where stories are shared, voices heard, and lessons learnt. So pull up a seat and grab your favorite coffee, tea, or even a glass of water, and join me on this journey, because every story shared here matters. Kehran, welcome to the round table.
Thank you.
Just for our listeners and the viewers, do you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in a family where there was mental health issues. So I've seen the impact firsthand of how that affects people and how nobody on the outside world knew that. So I've been out of home since 14, had my first daughter at 17. So life was different, you know what I mean? But great, it's turned out great. But it was, it was different.
And just being on your own at 14 at the time, was that due to the family breakup or?
Yeah,
what?
So there was a combined thing. It wasn't safe for me to be at home. So it was, therefore it was best for me to move out and recreate, basically. Yeah, find a safer place.
And now you've got your own beautiful place that I'm so honoured to be at.
Thank you. Amazing. If you had said to that 14-year-old, this is what's going to happen eventually, I never would have believed you. And I probably wouldn't have believed you even 20 years ago, But things happened in life, and we ended up being where we're at now. And, yeah, we're blessed every day. Yeah, we're very thankful. Yeah.
Now, to kind of get back on track with, the area of mental health challenges and that, one of the reasons too for asking you to join me on the podcast was because not only do I get to work alongside you and seeing you in action, just you run a tight ship, it's pretty amazing, but because of the training that you also did, and that was something that was really intriguing for me to kind of pick your brain around. So can you kind of just share a bit about how that came about with the training?
Yeah, absolutely. We started seeing things at work, and I was starting to notice, maybe having the family involvement in it, I started to notice people's mental health declining with everything that was happening in the world. We also went through the COVID, so the mental health at the time was pretty tough. So I had spoken to the bosses and said, look, I think this is a need that we need. It's something that's really important. So therefore they allowed us to delve deeper into it, and they decided to start mental health first aid programs. So I'm currently the only mental health first aider there, and I would definitely like to promote that we have a lot more. The main reason for that is we also lost somebody at work to suicide. The mental health issue and the signs were there. We just, unfortunately, he didn't get the help that he needed. Yeah, very young.
Oh, so when you say mental health first aid, what does that entail?
So mental health first aid just basically gives us the tools to guide someone to where they need to go to. So they hope that it gives us the signs to see what we need to see, and be able to encourage people to come and seek help. You know what I mean? Even if it's just over a coffee, or it's just over, sit down and have a bite to eat. Sometimes people just need that window to be able to feel like they can approach you. And then, hopefully we can get them to seek some help, even if we have to take them, to support them. It just gives them help and services. So, because a lot of people don't know that the services are out there.
Yeah, and the majority of the times, like in most cases, with most of the shows that I've done, are mainly around the men. I'm not taking anything away from the women, but it's just, have you seen the effects on women that may have gone through that similar situation?
Absolutely.
Other than yourself, who you went through it, but
yeah, absolutely. I have seen friends and colleagues go through mental health issues. My best friend lost her 15-year-old daughter to mental health issues also. So I think mental health happens in all ages, both sexes. Doesn't matter where you are or what you're from, rich or poor. Mental health doesn't discriminate. It just decides that that's where it's at. You've got to be able to just want to support people and want to understand it. Men's mental health, which is something I probably focus in a little more on at the moment, is I think it's only now and only in the recent years, and still there's not enough awareness around it. We're just finally starting to see men start to seek help, start to have services, and people be aware that men's mental health has always been there. And probably for me, I think it's tougher for them because society doesn't expect it. Society expects them to be
tough.
The tough.
Yeah. The brawns.
The brawns. You gotta look after everybody else. Sometimes they need looking after, and sometimes it's just that it's actually okay to feel the way that you're feeling. So for me, I wanted to look more into mental health, men's mental health specifically at the time, because of the situations we'd had at work, and we also had another person who just had mental health issues, and he's okay, but it was trying to understand what was happening. There were days I didn't understand what was happening, so I didn't want to go and create any more anxiety for that person. I just wanted to try and understand. Yeah.
And I guess that's probably one of the difficult parts about you wanting to try and understand, because it does also come down to like whether they're ready to open up.
Absolutely. Yeah. Some people won't. One specific person I worked with before, and he was great. He, on his first day, he actually came and told me that he had a mental health condition, which definitely helped me because I was then aware of it. I thought that knowledge was good, but I actually didn't realize how much you don't know. You think, oh, it's just a name. I now know what that condition is. I'm good now. No, that was just really the beginning of a journey of working with this person for 8 years, and every day was a different day. And then when I learnt in what was happening in his mind, it blows you away, because you don't understand what's happening in their head. Everybody else is like, but this is just what we see on the outside. But what they struggle with because of mental health is a huge thing. Yeah, I definitely don't take for granted the fact that there's a lot more people out there that have mental health issues. Yeah.
And when you say that's just a name, what are you referring to?
So with this specific person, it was schizophrenia. So learning about schizophrenia, it's not just take a tablet and you're going to feel okay. It's not like that. Their personalities change. Everything goes up and down. And one day you're dealing with one person. Sometimes you can deal with a different person every day of the week in that same brain, in that same headspace. And, you know, we were definitely able on a few occasions to get him help because he finally got to that safe space where he felt like he could actually come and speak to me and say, hey, I'm actually really struggling, and I know it's just in my head, but I'm actually really struggling. So, yeah, if you can make a difference to one person, and just by learning and educating yourself and trying to understand what these conditions are, we're not doctors, so we don't, we medically don't know what's going on, but mental health first aid is the first step. Anything to do, if you can educate yourself on anything, suicide prevention, men's mental health, what, services that are out there so you can help people. It's not just you need to go to a doctor and take a pill. That's not what it's about. It's about understanding them and allowing them to actually feel like it's okay to feel that way, And there's a lot of services out there for these guys. We just got to get more awareness around there, which is great, which is why you do what you do. People need to care more and people need to be kinder.
And just with that, with the first mental health first aid, because you were able to do it through work, would you highly recommend it in workplaces?
Absolutely. I think every workplace should have mental health first aiders, and it should be male, female, and multiple, because one person might not have the same connection as somebody else. You know what I mean? Even in our situation, we work with a lot of islanders. So that's also a big deal, because some of the males don't feel comfortable talking to a female. It's not their culture. They just wouldn't do it. So I think you do need to have both sexes. And younger, and age matters too. So I think, the more people that can do mental health, whether in the workplace or in their personal life, you can never have too many people doing it, I don't think. Yeah.
And I suppose one of the other things would be to actually educate the islanders, because they find it hard to understand English as well. So you're faced with another challenge.
Absolutely.
With trying to get them to understand what you're actually talking about. I did come across an individual, I think he was from Vanuatu, but he was well spoken and he kind of understood everything. And just when I recall mentioning the words mental health, and he just kind of like, oh yeah, and it just blew me away. And I was like, oh, okay, so you do kind of understand it. Because he says, man, we're here, and our wives are back there, and everything's just playing on your mind. As a bloke, all you're thinking of is, I hope everything's all right, and nothing past that kind of thing. You just, so yeah, that was kind of one of the things that I noticed. But also one of the other things I kind of wanted to point out is like, what do you think if it was introduced more into the education?
Absolutely. Yeah. The young people tend to be less judgmental and less closed off. So I think the more that we start educating them younger, the more they can also detect it in their friends. High schools, the suicide rate in high schools is crazy. So you imagine what the mental health level is, but just a suicide that's even recorded and noted as a suicide. Some people don't go public with it. So for me, it's if we can educate them younger that there is help and that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, you know what I mean? But going through teenage years is tough. Going through bullying is tough. People don't realise with everything that's around, with social media, just mean people. There are just some people that life has been tougher for them, so they tend to take it out on other people.
Mm.
So if they can learn now when they're younger to be kinder, maybe we do have a kinder workplaces, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's, yeah.
And also, you know, it would help also with family members being able to bring it back home and
Absolutely, and see it at home, understand it at home, whether it's with your kids or whether it's with your parents or just relations, anyone, your neighbour, you know what I mean? It's important that people are aware and can kind of see it and let those people know that it's actually okay that they're feeling that way. Or just have a conversation. You don't even have to mention the words mental health because that scares some people.
yeah,
You know, and they're like, oh, no, you know what I mean? And they'll either shut off or they'll cease everything. So for me, it's like sometimes it's just having a coffee with that person, you know, once a week, and then all of a sudden they feel safe to talk to you about what's happening. Yeah.
One of the other things too I was thinking is that they could probably have at work, because most of the times it's always the no enter, unauthorized, maybe a card, a display play card of mental health, you know, someone
Yes.
to talk to. Hey, if you need to talk, and if you have that blasted up in big letters,
Yeah.
even though people might walk past like they're ignoring it, they're probably thinking at least there's an opportunity to like.
Absolutely. It's something probably we should have more in our workplace too. We have our mental health first aid certificates up. We've had a few meetings about it, but yeah, bigger posters with more awareness. We also have packs set up so that they don't actually have to ask for a pack. I have created my own packs of just support stuff inside those packs, phone numbers that they can call, ways that they can sort of detect mental health issues and is this actually happening. And they don't have anything on the outside because for them, you know, I don't want people to walk up and go, oh, he's got a mental health pack. You know, they're not going to ask for them if they know that people know what they are. So I think having those packs ready to go too, because sometimes they might not have that moment. They want to do this in 5 minutes and going through all that takes longer. So that's why I made the packs up.
Hey guys, thanks again for tuning back in. And if you're finding value in today's show, then please make sure to hit that subscribe button, like and share, as it helps this channel to continue to grow and I can continue to seek out and discover unsung heroes making a huge impact in the community. And so, without further ado, let's get back to it.
Okay, so kind of walk us through what that pack looks like, because then maybe someone could take away from this.
Yeah, so the pack is just the group of numbers of all of your mental health lifelines. You know, you've got your Black Dog Society Lifeline, Medicare Mental Health. There's a lot of services out there that people don't know. It's also got walks and fundraisers that people do where you might just want to go for a walk. That sometimes that's an easier way for you to kind of step into, am I going to ask for some help? Just having a casual chat with someone makes a difference. It's also got services in there for basic counselling. You know, sometimes mental health and things around depression are situational, not always, but some are situational where they might have money pressures or personal pressures. So we also have a counselling guide in there which basically gives them a free service at work to be able to make these phone calls. One is a phone call provider and one is a online provider, because not everybody feels like they can talk to someone over the phone. Not everybody wants to do a Zoom session and show who they are. So we have 2 services that I set up, and those services now are in there. So it's up to them which one they would like to do if they choose to take that as an option. But it's just a nice, healthy pack. And it's just got a couple of things, you know, placards in there that just say, you know, have a great day.
And
You know.
what do you usually do? Store it in a little box or?
Yeah, so I have them in my office but also on my desk. So people know that you can take that yellow envelope and, you know, or if you ask for one, I will just go and place that in their bag or lunchbox. So people aren't actually being made aware that somebody's asking for help because they might not feel safe that other people know that they know what's happening in their life. You know, that will come in time, but initially, it's a very private thing for them.
And what do you think have been some of the biggest challenges today with everything that's going on, trying to get the right kind of help? And
Yeah, look, the biggest thing is funding. Funding is really hard, even through the workplace. You trying to get them to understand the need for more courses. You can't just do a mental health first aid course and stop. It's like a hairdresser, right? You can't just go and do one training of how to cut hair and then do that for the next 20 years, right? So you have to grow. So to me, education is key. Getting as much education as you can suck up in your life, because everybody has a different perspective. I recently did a course that was a suicide prevention course, and the person that was presenting it had his own personal attempts at taking his life. For me, it was so different to other ones that I've done where it's just a speaker. You're getting to see different perspectives and the real emotions of that person, and why those things were happening, and yeah, amazing. Blew me away.
what are some of the things that you think, or what would it take to actually improve that if you had the opportunity to pick up a magic wand and go, right, let's
This is what we're going to do?
abracadabra?
Yeah, abracadabra. Wow. I just think there needs to be more free services and just more public awareness. Even when I see in posters, one thing I notice a lot in posters when anything surrounds mental health is we see a lot of sadness. We see a lot of characters that are sad. And yes, they are. But for me, there's happiness in their life too, right? So sometimes I wonder whether the message they're trying to get is just, if you're really sad or if you see someone that's really sad. There's people with mental health issues that are smiling every day, right? And you don't see what's behind that.
So true.
It's so true, yeah. They can be the happiest person in the world and be struggling with their trauma. Hence is what happened with our young guy at work who took his life. He was, the best smile, an amazing smile, and his laugh was just crazy. But on the inside, he struggled and, to the point where a lot of people around him did not see that struggle. And then when he sought help, he wasn't able to get help. They sent him away and said, so our services need to be better, because even when people are seeking help, in both the situations that I had, two particular situations I have, both people went to mental health and asked for help and were sent away. That night, they both took their lives. You can't just put up posters and say, this is a service we provide, but hey, not tonight. They have to step up and make those things a reality and really help these guys, as much as it's a growing problem.
If there's a few other things that we probably haven't touched on, now's an opportunity for you to kind of, break down some of those things that we haven't covered. Because it's a array of things to try and delve into, and
Absolutely.
every situation for every individual is different. And from your perspective, what would that look like if there were a few other things that you would like to see improved upon?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it is a problem, and I think it's a growing problem every day. So I just think there needs to be more awareness and more services out there. Every time you hear of a great service, their funding is chopped. Crazy. The more problems we have, we shouldn't be cutting services. Now's the time that people really need our help. We've getting people to the point of saying there is help out there. There are services out there. And then when they're getting there, they're going, actually, no, we can't. We're not going to fund that. The government needs to step up more with funding. People, you know what I mean? Just, if you can provide anything at all, even people don't understand how important a smile is, or how important walk down the street and say good morning to someone. That's what we used to do.
Yes.
Now everyone's heads down. They're all on phones or they're having their coffee. People aren't saying good morning. And maybe someone just needs to pass someone that says good morning and smiles at them to make them feel better throughout their day. So it's not even just the courses. The courses are so important. Everything is so important. But it's people in their everyday life doing more.
Mm.
You know, if you do see someone sitting on a bench just sitting on their own, say hi. You know, if you're not comfortable sitting down having a chat to them, which we understand, say good morning or say hi. You know, how's your day today? You know what I mean? But, you know, that might make a difference to somebody. Just, that passing comment. So, yeah, I don't think we'll ever solve all of our mental health problems, but I think that we can improve and we can be better. We can be better people and kinder people. And hopefully by doing that, with the awareness, be kinder, take more action, hopefully, and I do believe our mental health will improve. You know what I mean? Even if it just improves for a certain amount of people, you know, if everybody did that, I think it would be a better world.
Absolutely. Look, I think one of the other thing is too that there's just so much information out there that it turns into a bit of a maze.
Definitely.
And sometimes, I did a mental health care cert, and when I was going through the process of it and trying to understand everything, and the only thing that got me kind of muddled up was too much information with so many different numbers.
Correct. Yeah. So that's something that I've noticed a lot too, is you can have sheets with 20 numbers. Which number do you call? You know what I mean? And sometimes when you're in a moment or a feeling, you don't have the ability to shrink that down to one number. So sometimes seeing all the numbers can be quite confusing for people. The other thing is we do, there's a couple of services out there and they have a 1, 3 and a word, right? If you're not an old texter from the 80s where it's ABC, you don't know what that word comes down to in numbers. And sometimes your state of mind, you're not able to break that down. So you just put a number, a simple, easy to remember number. That's what people need. The other thing, I think we need a lot more walk-in services for these people to walk into, where they're not that really dark building that's in the back of the alley that they might go into. These should be bright, happy places so that people don't feel like it's a darkness to go into. You know what I mean? Go and ask for help. Go and, let somebody walk in and just have a coffee. A crazy event happened to me, and I'll never forget it. The night before our wedding, we had a community hall set up for our reception, and we were setting it up, and this person came in with mental health issues and wasn't in a good state, but he just wanted a coffee because that was a community centre that he went to and got coffee. And here I was trying to say, this is like, it's a private function. You can't come in here. It got quite heated and quite dangerous for a moment. So we had to I took him to a room and I said to everybody, you got to settle down, because you could see it was not even it wasn't even an anger. It was a fear. It was like, he just wanted a coffee, and he just wanted someone to talk to. I went and made him a coffee. We sat down and we were having a chat, and other people had called services for the police to come and assist to try and get him removed from the centre. And I was like, that's not helping him. He just wanted a coffee. We ended up sitting and talking. Nobody came. We sat and talked for half an hour, and I explained to him that I'm not sending him away, but this was my wedding, and that's why we were here, and normally the centre would be open for coffee. He was just confused. So again, it shows that people aren't necessarily doing something because they want to be aggravating or they want to cause trouble. Sometimes they're actually confused. That was his place. That was his coffee place. And we had confused it by making it a reception hall the next day. And all he wanted was an ear. Now that he'd had problems, but when he left there, he smiled and he said to me, thank you. And those little impacts and it might just be a moment, but that moment I feel and I hope mattered to him enough that he smiled and said thank you because somebody actually listened. Yeah. So little moments in life.
Wow. That's beautiful. Okay, so for those that actually want to maybe get a better understanding
Yep.
about mental health, the mental health first aid, where do they kind of look into getting into that?
Yeah, okay, so I did my mental health first aid through Mental Health First Aid Australia. There are a lot of services that do it. Some of the courses are quite expensive. You know, if your company's going to fund, that's fantastic. But for your everyday people where the company's not funding, and so, you know, they are quite expensive, there are free services. There are community services that run very similar courses. So check with your local community centres. Go and ask your local mental health service, hey, I would love to learn more about mental health services. Are you having any seminars? Are you having anything coming up where a meet and greet, where I could learn and improve what I know? Because that matters. Go on a walk. You know, they have mental health walks all the time. Go on a walk and just chat to people. You will learn more or just as much from people, like real life feelings and emotions, than what you will from a book that tells you how you should feel or how they feel. You know, have a chat, just chat to people, chat to your neighbour, chat to anyone who's had these, and just don't judge, because you don't know what's happened in their life. You don't know why they're the way they are. You don't know why they're living in the situation they're living in, because that wasn't your story. That's their story. So ask the story, you know. But yeah, I think sometimes we judge a little bit too much. Yeah.
Well, for someone that's listening, maybe an employee, a CEO,
Yeah.
what would you recommend for them to look into?
Yeah, look, to all CEOs out there and to any bosses in general out there, educate your staff. Offer the services. Not everybody's going to want to take that service, but offer the service because it matters. You may just save someone's life by that phone call, by that coffee they might have with somebody at work who's done a mental health first aid course. And for employees, ask. Look for the signs. You've got a lot of workplaces now have the mental health first aiders. Use them. Come and have a coffee. Go and just say, look, I just want to have a chat. You don't have to disclose what's really going on at the start until you feel safe, but just have a chat, you know. And if your workplace doesn't have it, find somewhere that does. Go down to your community centre. Chat to your local people in the community centre. They probably know, you know what I mean? Go and see someone at Men's Shed. All these facilities are out there. Just keep asking. Just keep searching for it, because there is a light and there's a way to get through things. You know what I mean? Sometimes it feels tough, and sometimes it is tough because you don't know how to do it, you know, but you will get there. Just keep asking.
Okay, Karen, look, there's a new thing that I've started up recently, which is I would grab a guest to write down a question, and then I would ask that question to the next guest. So each guest gets an opportunity to answer a question that they wouldn't know anything about. And I even don't know myself the question, so I don't look at it until the day I get to have a chat with the guys. Okay, so the question that was left for you is, if you could reconnect with one person you've lost touch with, who would it be, and what would you want them to know?
Wow, okay. It would actually be my mum. We disconnected a long time ago, and due to her mental health issues, her choice, and I just wanted to know that I understand. Yeah, I get it, you know. Yeah.
Well, before we wrap up, any final words of wisdom?
Oh, just be kind, man. Be kind and stay strong. For the ones that are struggling, stay strong. There is help. Just, it's there. Just stay strong. Yeah. And everybody else, less judgment and be kinder. Yeah. And smile. Smiles make a difference to people.
Nice. Kehran, that was absolutely beautiful. Thanks for sharing your insights about what you've gone through, the experiences of what you've seen and witnessed yourself too. So for someone out there that's listening, CEOs and employees,
Yes.
and families too. Kehran, again,
Thank you for asking me. Thank you very much.
thank you for joining me at the round table.